Hey everyone, welcome back.
Yeah.
You ever feel like the world of work is just changing so fast?
Oh, yeah.
You just can't keep up.
Constantly.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at some insights from the World Economic Forum, actually from 3 different reports they put out.
Oh, wow.
One on leadership, one on the future of jobs, predicting massive skills disruption,
Big changes.
and another one focusing specifically on advanced manufacturing.
Interesting.
So we're going to unpack these reports and see what they mean for you, for me, for everybody's careers.
Yeah, it really feels like we're entering a whole new era of work.
Right.
And to thrive, we need to understand these trends.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Let's start with leadership.
Okay.
Now, the World Economic Forum has this initiative called the Young Global Leaders,
Yeah,
and it's pretty impressive.
I've heard about this.
We're talking 1,400 individuals from over 125 countries,
Wow.
all dedicated to making the world a better place.
That's fantastic.
What's interesting about this initiative is it really highlights how the definition of leadership itself is changing.
Oh, in what way?
It's not just about climbing that corporate ladder.
right.
It's about having this vision for a fairer, kinder, a more inclusive world and inspiring others to work towards that vision.
So it's leadership with a conscience.
Yeah. Not just leadership for the sake of power.
Exactly. Because the challenges we face today are complex. Climate change, social inequality, geopolitical instability.
Issues.
Huge. We need leaders who can navigate these things with integrity,
Yeah.
with vision, and with a deep understanding of how humans interact and work together.
And that focus on a fairer and a more inclusive world, I feel like that's going to have a huge impact on the jobs of the future.
Definitely. Especially considering the forum's report predicting that 44% of worker skills are going to be disrupted by 2027.
Yeah, 44%.
That's a lot of change.
That's huge. So, skills disruption, what does that mean? What does that mean for our listeners?
Well, it basically means that those skills that are so hot today, they might be totally obsolete tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Technology is advancing so fast.
Yeah.
Automation's changing how we work.
Right.
And whole new industries are emerging.
Okay, yeah.
So we have to constantly be learning, adapting, evolving our skill sets.
So that 44% number is a little daunting, I gotta admit.
It is a big number.
It makes me think, am I ready?
Yeah,
You know, I bet some of our listeners are feeling that way too.
probably.
But instead of panicking, let's figure out what skills we should be focused on.
Right, exactly.
So tell me, what are those magic skills that are gonna wow employers in the next 5 years?
Well, the report highlights 10 top skills, and some of them might surprise you.
Okay, I'm ready for a surprise.
AI and big data expertise.
Oh, there it is.
That's one.
Okay, hold on a second.
Sure.
For those of us who don't live in the tech world, what does AI and big data expertise actually mean?
Okay, so AI.
Artificial intelligence, right?
Right. It's about making machines that can learn and solve problems.
Like we do.
Exactly. And big data refers to just these massive amounts of information that are being generated constantly. Expertise in this area means you can use these technologies to analyze information,
Right.
make predictions, and solve problems.
So it's not just coding.
No.
It's about using those tools to make better decisions.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what else is on the list? Analytical and creative thinking are up there.
Oh, that's interesting.
They go hand in hand.
Okay.
It's not enough to just follow instructions anymore or crunch numbers.
Right.
Employers want people who can think critically, spot patterns, come up with innovative solutions.
So it's that combination,
Yeah.
analytical and creative. That's fascinating. What kind of jobs would that be?
So think data analysts who can not only interpret data, but tell a story with it.
Okay.
Marketing professionals who use data to personalize those customer experiences.
Right.
Even engineers designing and building really innovative products.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
What else is on the list?
Now this one's interesting. Leadership and social influence.
Wait, leadership. I thought those skills would become less important as machines take over.
Actually, it's the opposite. As technology gets more advanced, the human element becomes even more critical.
Okay.
Think about it. If you're leading a team of engineers developing a crazy new AI system,
Right.
you got to communicate a vision,
Right.
you got to motivate them, you got to navigate the ethical and social implications of this new tech.
So it's about humans and machines working together.
Exactly. And that brings us to another one. Resilience, flexibility, agility.
Gotta be nimble.
Yeah. The world of work is changing so quickly
Right.
that being able to adapt to new situations,
Yeah.
bounce back from setbacks
And learn new things all the time.
constantly.
That's huge. It's
Thanks.
like we're all on this crazy roller coaster and we just got to hang on.
That's a great analogy.
And that leads right into curiosity and lifelong learning.
Absolutely.
Right.
We can't just rely on what we learn in school.
Right.
Got to always be seeking out new information, new skills, expanding our horizons.
It's not just what, it's about your willingness to grow and learn.
Exactly.
What else is on this list?
Technological literacy is a big one.
Okay.
It's not just using technology, it's understanding how it works, how it's changing our world,
Right.
how can we use it ethically,
Okay.
responsibly.
So you're saying we got to be tech savvy,
Right.
not just tech dependent.
Yeah. And then there's design and user experience,
Okay.
which may sound surprising.
A little bit, yeah.
But as we interact more and more with tech, we need to design these systems that are user-friendly, intuitive, and fun to use.
Makes sense. Even in a tech-driven world, the human experience still matters.
It really does.
What other skills round out the top 10?
Motivation and self-awareness are in there.
Okay.
Being able to set goals,
Yeah.
manage time, understand your strengths and weaknesses, and last but not least,
Drum roll, please.
empathy and active listening.
Empathy. I would have thought with more tech, we'd be interacting less with each other.
Actually, it's quite the opposite.
Really?
As we become more reliant on tech, the ability to connect with others on that human level becomes even more valuable.
Okay.
It's about understanding different perspectives,
Right.
building trust, fostering collaboration.
Especially in a world that can feel sometimes isolating.
Exactly.
So we've got this mix of hard skills, technical skills, soft skills, and it sounds like personality traits even.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix.
It paints this picture of a workforce that's super adaptable, creative, and very human,
I like that.
even as tech keeps advancing.
Yeah, it's all about that balance.
Okay.
That's what's going to make us successful.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how those soft skills, empathy, and active listening, those are becoming so important.
Right. Like we said,
Yeah,
it's almost like we're having to relearn how to be human in this age of AI.
I know, right?
Right.
As AI and automation take over more of those routine tasks, what really sets us apart are those human qualities. Our ability to connect with each other,
Right.
to collaborate, to come up with new ideas.
So those are the skills that give us an edge.
Absolutely.
It's not just what we know.
Right.
It's how we work with others.
Exactly.
So think about it. You've got a leader who's trying to inspire their team to achieve the seemingly impossible goal.
Right.
Or you've got a salesperson who's trying to connect with a skeptical client.
Yeah.
Those are situations where empathy, active listening,
Yes.
those communication skills, that's where it makes a difference.
It makes all the difference.
So it's like we have to double down on what makes us human in this tech world.
We do.
How does that connect to purposeful leadership?
That's a great question. Purposeful leadership
Yeah.
is really about creating a work environment where everyone feels valued,
Okay.
where they feel motivated, connected to a bigger mission.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't do that without having strong interpersonal skills.
So it's not just about hitting those deadlines
Well-
and, just like checking things off.
It's a much bigger picture.
It's about inspiring people, getting them excited about coming to work,
Exactly.
and feeling like they're part of something bigger.
It's about recognizing that your employees aren't just cogs in a machine.
Right.
They're people
Mm-hmm.
with their own goals and their own dreams.
So are you saying that the old ways of leading, are those becoming obsolete?
The command and control style.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming less and less effective.
Really? Why is that?
Well, in the past, leaders could get away with just being really directive,
Mm-hmm.
top-down approach.
Yeah.
But now, in this world where things change so quickly
Right.
and you have to be constantly innovating and adapting,
You got to pivot.
you got to pivot. You need leaders who are much more collaborative,
Okay.
empowering, and, yes,
Empathetic.
empathetic,
So it's less about giving orders
or less.
and more about inspiring and motivating.
Waiting, yeah.
And creating this environment where people feel safe to take risks.
Psychological safety.
Yeah, that's so important, right?
That's huge.
Where you feel like you can try something and it's okay if it doesn't work out.
Exactly.
So if you're a leader who's trying to change, who's trying to adapt to this new style,
Right.
what are some tangible things that you can do?
The first thing is to become a better listener.
So put your phone down,
Yes,
step away from the computer screen,
exactly.
really listen.
And it's not just about hearing the words.
Okay.
It's about paying attention to their body language, to their tone of voice. Are they engaged?
So you got to be present.
You have to be present. And then once you've really listened,
Okay.
communicate really clearly, transparently,
Right.
share your vision, explain your decisions, and be open to feedback.
So no more vague pronouncements.
No, be upfront and honest.
This sounds like a big change for some leaders.
It can be a shift,
Yeah.
but it's so important for building that trust and that shared purpose.
Right.
And don't forget to celebrate successes.
Oh, yeah.
Recognize your team's hard work. Reward them.
So it's not just about giving feedback when things go wrong.
No.
You got to celebrate those wins.
Absolutely. Positive reinforcement can be really powerful.
It is.
It can really motivate and inspire your team.
Okay, so this all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But how do you actually translate this people-focused approach into, business results?
Yeah.
Can you really be both? Can you be people-focused and profit-driven?
You absolutely can. There's actually research that shows that companies with really strong cultures of empathy and purpose,
Okay.
they tend to do better than their competitors.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
When employees feel valued and connected,
Yeah.
they're just more engaged, they're more productive, they're more innovative,
Okay.
and that leads to better customer service,
Right.
higher quality products, and ultimately more profits.
So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
I like it.
And think about it. Attracting and retaining top talent.
Huge challenge these
It's
days.
huge.
Yeah.
By creating this kind of work environment, you're going to get the best people,
Yeah.
and they're going to stay.
Makes sense.
So it's a win for everyone.
This is all very compelling,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there are people listening thinking that's great in theory, but where do I even start?
Right.
How do you actually put these ideas into practice?
Start by taking a good look at your own leadership style.
Okay, self-reflection.
Yeah. What are your strengths?
Mm-hmm.
What are your weaknesses?
Right.
How do you usually communicate with your team?
Are you building that culture of trust?
Exactly. That's psychological safety.
So you're saying it's about stepping back
Yeah.
and being honest with yourself?
And don't be afraid to ask your team for feedback.
Oh, good point.
They can give you some really valuable insights
Yeah.
about what's working and what's not.
Because we're all works in progress, right?
We all are. We're always learning.
Always learning.
So be open to feedback and be willing to adapt.
Okay, good advice.
Are there any resources out there
That's what I was going to ask.
to help with this?
Yeah, are there books or tools or something?
Tons. There are so many books, articles,
Okay,
workshops, online courses
right.
on emotional intelligence, communication skills,
Purposeful leadership.
all of that.
Okay.
And there are even some great assessments that can help you pinpoint your strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
So you can make a plan to improve.
So do your research.
Yeah.
Be proactive.
Be proactive.
But let's get back to advanced manufacturing.
Okay, yes.
How do these ideas play out in that specific sector?
Advanced manufacturing is fascinating because it's an industry that's going through so much disruption.
Yeah, we talked about the tech advancements.
Right. And that creates so many challenges,
Uh-huh.
but also opportunities for leaders.
And we talked about that need to upskill workers
Exactly.
to keep up with those changes.
And that's where purposeful leadership is so important. You need to equip your workforce with the technical skills
Right.
so they can work with robots, AI, all those advanced technologies.
So they have to be comfortable working alongside these advanced machines.
Absolutely. But it's not just about that.
Okay.
Leaders also have to build a culture that embraces innovation, collaboration,
Yeah.
continuous learning.
So you need people who can think critically,
Yes.
solve problems,
Yeah.
and be adaptable.
Yes. And you need leaders who inspire,
Mm.
who motivate their teams
Right.
to embrace those challenges and see them as opportunities for growth.
You know, it reminds me of that statistic we talked about earlier.
Which one?
60% of companies think their workforce needs more training
Right.
to bridge the skills gap,
Yes.
but only 23% feel confident their workforce is ready for 2030.
It's a big gap.
Yeah, it is a big gap.
That statistic really highlights how urgent this is. We have to address these skills gaps, and leadership plays a big role in that.
So what can companies do to bridge that gap? What are some concrete steps they can take?
The first thing is invest in training and development.
Training, okay.
Yeah. And not just technical training.
Right, we talked about that.
You have to also focus on those essential human skills.
Communication, collaboration.
Problem solving, critical thinking, all of that.
It's like this holistic approach.
It has to be holistic.
Yeah.
And don't forget about leadership development.
Oh, right.
Train your leaders to be more purposeful, empathetic, more empowering.
Because those are the leaders that are going to keep people at the company.
Exactly. They're going to attract the best talent, and create a culture of innovation and continuous learning.
It makes sense.
And it's not just about formal training programs.
Right.
Create opportunities for on-the-job learning, mentoring,
Right.
collaboration between teams.
Cross-functional.
Exactly. It's about making learning a part of everything you do.
So it's a culture of learning.
Yes. And remember that building a sustainable workforce, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, effort, resources.
That it's worth it.
But the payoff is huge. You end up with a more engaged, more productive, more innovative workforce.
A workforce that's ready for anything.
That's the goal.
This has been really insightful.
It has.
It's clear that the world of work is transforming
It is.
and advanced manufacturing is leading the way.
Yeah.
But it's also clear that investing in human skills, in leadership, and in continuous learning,
Those are the keys.
those are the keys to success.
It's not about being afraid of the future.
Right.
It's about embracing it and being prepared for whatever it brings.
You know, we've talked a lot about individual skills and leadership development,
Uh-huh.
but what about the role of companies and organizations in all of this?
That's huge. Companies really have to step up and create workplaces that actually help people grow and thrive.
Especially as tech keeps changing everything.
Yeah, it's not just about training them for a specific job.
Right.
It's got to be about building a company culture that encourages people to learn,
To adapt.
to bounce back when things get tough.
Like it's part of the company DNA.
Yeah, like building up a muscle.
So continuous learning you're talking about.
Yes, give people opportunities to learn,
Training programs.
mentoring, cross-functional teams, all of that.
It sounds like companies need to think about their employees' future,
Absolutely.
not just what they're doing right now.
It's about the long game,
So create that environment where people feel supported
where they feel empowered to try new things.
and not be afraid to fail.
Yes, that psychological safety is so important.
Yeah, feeling like you can experiment without getting tunnelized if it doesn't work out.
Exactly.
It comes back to remembering that people are people, not robots.
Right, they have their own lives.
Their own goals and dreams.
Exactly. It's bigger than just having one purposeful leader at the top.
Right, it's got to be baked into the whole company culture.
It has to be. Companies need to take a hard look at themselves and ask some tough questions. What kind of environment are we creating? Is it a culture of fear or a culture of trust?
Are we encouraging people to be innovative, or are we actually holding them back?
Yeah, are we really valuing our employees as people, or are they just resources to us?
Those are some tough questions.
They are, but they're essential questions.
Yeah, every company should be asking themselves those things.
Because those answers are going to determine whether a company can attract the best talent,
Keep those people.
adapt to all these changes, and actually thrive in the future.
It feels like the stakes are really high here.
They are.
Not just for workers, but for companies, even for the whole economy.
It's true. This isn't some far-off thing.
Right.
The future of work is happening now.
Yeah.
And the decisions we make today are going to determine what that future looks like.
This has been a really insightful deep dive.
It has.
We've covered a lot of ground, from specific skills
Yeah.
to big shifts in how we think about leadership and company culture.
And how work itself is changing.
Exactly.
It's been great to talk about this.
I hope our listeners are leaving with a better understanding of what's ahead.
I hope so.
But even more than that, I hope they feel inspired
To take action.
to actually do something.
Whether that's investing in their own development,
Pushing for changes at their company.
or even just talking about this stuff with their friends and family.
Yeah, get the conversation going.
Because we're not just passengers on this ride.
Right.
We're all co-creating the future of work.
That's a good point. It gives us a sense of power,
Yeah,
but also responsibility.
it does.
As we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
It's not just about learning new skills for the future. It's about what kind of future we want to build with those skills.
That's so important.
Right. It's not just about me, myself, and I.
It's about the bigger picture.
Think about your own career, the skills you're learning.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, what kind of future do you want to be a part of?
What kind of impact do you want to make on the world?
What problems are you passionate about solving?
Those are great questions for everyone to reflect on.
Yeah, because the future isn't set in stone.
Not at all.
We're creating it every single day.
With every choice we make.
So let's choose wisely.
Yes. Let's be intentional about the skills we develop.
And let's take action with a sense of purpose.
Let's build a future that's not just successful,
But a future that's good for everyone.
equitable, sustainable, fulfilling.
That's a future worth fighting for.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of work.
It's been my pleasure.
Remember, the future is ours to create, so let's get out there and build something amazing.